Ben's.
Instant Mood Improver is recorded on Bunurong country. I pay my respects to local elders past, present and emerging and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded and this always was and always will be Aboriginal land. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to any mob who may be listening today.
Put a pep in your step, turn your frown upside down, make it more fun to be around. Instant mood improver, instant mood improver, instant mood improver. The songs that make you feel happy again.
G'day everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Instant Mood Improver, a happy music podcast. The show where we talk to people about the song that instantly improves their mood the moment they hear it and use that as a bridging off point to talk about the role music plays in their overall happiness. Today's guest is genre agnostic, rock, whatever you want to call him, megastar is what I'll call him. Grandson, thanks for joining us today.
What an intro. I'm excited to go there. Let's go be happy together here now. You, me, and the audience.
Hell yeah. So yeah, very simple question, man. What song instantly improves your mood the moment you hear it?
Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. If I had to pick one, I would say it would be, something by the legend Bob.
Why? What's the reasoning behind why you think it's such a joyous song?
Oh man, that's a wonderful question. Well, I think that there's a simplicity to the lyric, don't worry, be happy. Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing's going to be all right. Like there's something about that songs, particularly reggae songs that are that declarative. This is it. It's all good. You've got this. It's incredibly reassuring, to hear those timeless kind of messages. So I think that's one thing. The chord progression stays happy. We're not confused. We're not going deep here. We're not playing complicated music. It's been with you your whole life. And also it makes other people happy. It's contextual. It's become this rallying anthem for people. So I think it's, I don't know, just the shit makes me happy.
It's been making people happy for a very long time. Do you remember the first time you heard the song? Were you instantly attracted to the joy that is present in it and to the calming nature of that lyrical motif?
I can't really remember specifically. Obviously, it's an iconic song. It's kind of been everywhere. It's one of those songs that feels like it's seeped up from the ground. It's hard to imagine a world where it wasn't existing yet because it's been so ubiquitous. It's just everywhere. But I remember that my parents, when I was a kid, they had a very eccentric, weird friend who collected all kinds of weird gadgets at his house. And he had a fish, a fake floppy fish that was hung up, electronic. When you press a button, the fish would flop and it would sing to you. And pretty sure it sang Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. It might have been, I'm kind of interchanging a couple different songs in my head, but that was my first time being aware of the power of that kind of music. And I just kept pressing that button. I just wanted to see that fish flop, so that's my earliest memory.
It's funny you've mentioned that fish because I'm pretty sure the song was Don't Worry, Be Happy. And it's interesting because those two songs are intrinsically linked in my brain as well.
Yeah, I mean, number one, I guess that just poser, but also I think that, there's just something about the way that both those songs, every little thing is going to be all right. Don't worry. That don't worry that I'm constantly needing reminding of. So I guess my favorite is like a Mount Rushmore of like those guys and Pete Tong and like, Damian Marley. And there's like a reggae world in which you're reminded that it doesn't have to be that complicated.
Yeah, there's no wrong way to experience such timeless tunes. And it is interesting how our brains have the capacity to be taken somewhere else just by a sound changing. So you sit in a room and you're in the worst mood ever. And then that one of these two songs you just mentioned comes on and it transforms you to another place. Is that something that you utilize music for in your life to try and influence your emotional spectrum?
Good question. Sometimes I do think that there is absolutely value in being proactive and attempting to change the variables that you can control in your life when things feel hard or feel out of control. And one example of that is by changing your relationship to space and time. So, consuming art, going for hikes, immersing yourself in, a comforting like television show, like those are ways that you can change your space to be reassuring. And I read somewhere that like art is how we decorate space and that music is how we decorate time. And I do think that putting on a song can carry you through those 2-3 minutes in an entirely different space that you've immersed yourself in. I don't know that it's always the first place I go. I think that for me, when I'm low, I put on angry music and I feel understood. And I find comfort in that. When I'm getting excited about seeing somebody that, like putting on warm and positive music when I'm feeling good makes me really happy. But as far as utilizing music to actually shift my emotional spectrum, I rely more on heavy, angsty, visceral music that I can find in harder subgenres of like rock and roll and electronic music and hip hop to make me feel a little more comfort in the darkness.
Has anyone told you that your music instantly improves their mood or has a role in improving their happiness?
Yeah, I have heard that. I make music that is quite a journey. I really utilize that relationship to time, and I try to make music that incorporates sound effects at different times in my life. I've used the sound of rain in the background of different songs, or I've used white noise, and people find that comforting. People use my music to work out. Yeah, absolutely. It's an incredible relationship that I share with fans around the world.
Is there one particular song that comes up the most often or most prominently in your conversations with fans?
As it relates to them being happy, I've got a couple songs. One of my songs is a song called Drop Dead. And the lyrics of the song are around being pushed in a corner and finding the energy to keep going. And that I sometimes have music that has that lyric. There's another song called Apologize that I put out early in my career, which was about, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going there. And I'm not going to apologize for who I am. And, when I write songs that are of that sort of confidence and again, that place of reassuring people that they're doing okay, those are the songs I think that people gravitate to when they want to, when that's what they need to hear.
Absolutely. I can tell you that your choice of instant mood improver, Bob Marley's song 3 Little Birds, is something that was used in my house quite regularly when I was younger to do something similar to that, in the sense that it was always something that my dad would put on as a way of calming himself down and making him reassured about what was going on in the world. And it's nice to see that tradition of music being utilized in this way by people is carrying over across generations. One of the coolest things as a musician that you have at your disposal is the fact that when you make a record, it maintains time and place forever. And
yeah,
as an artist, when you are revisiting your own material, do you find that you are thrown back into the mindset you were in when you were writing the songs?
That's a good question. I spend a lot of time performing my songs, and I, especially when I'm coming to play a show in Australia, like want to draw on my entire catalog. Unless I'm coming somewhere with a real frequency, I try to make sure that my concert touches on the different parts of my career. So I do find myself playing my music a lot. I'm not really listening a lot when I come home from tour. I'm grateful for the release, but absolutely, those songs maintain their relationship to time. And my best concerts are the shows where I, as a performer, can be brought back there as well. And there is great beauty and danger in every single night standing on stage and revisiting these incredibly powerful points of inspiration that led to these songs, you know? But it is really, really, there's something beautiful and unexplainable about that relationship as a performer to my own material. Just, it's like when you smell something that you haven't smelled in a long time and you're right back there. It's an incredibly powerful sensory experience to hear those choices that we made in the studio, not just the lyrics, not just the chords, but a little tiny decision that, you know, we made. You make a million choices through the songwriting process, and the subtle decisions of how not only the elements that you used in the song, but how they relate to one another and how you mixed the song. All those choices, you hear them, and I remember the decisions to make them and the conversations we had and my relationships to the people I made them with. It was pretty cool.
Brilliant. I'm getting the wrap up, so I've got to let you go, and that's totally fine. But before I do, I must mention that you're coming out on tour to Australia. And it's for the I Love You, I'm Trying World Tour, and it starts next week, which is awesome. Someone who's been waiting so long to get out to Australia. For anyone who hasn't had the chance to see you, what can they expect from a Grandson show?
It's going to be a very sensorial experience. It's going to be cool. It's going to be rock and roll. It's going to be high energy. And I think that if you are a music lover, if you like listening to dark music, if you, like me, enjoy company in these moments of frustration or anger or rebellion, then this can be not just a soundtrack in your headphones, but a place of community. And it's like a lighthouse that brings people together who use music in that way. It's really, really beautiful. I really enjoy it. I'm biased. I'm going to be there though. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to meeting people and playing some shows. It's going to be cool.
Australia looks forward to seeing you. We will now end this podcast the way that we always do, which is to play Grandson's choice of instant mood improver, which is Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. And
I can't be the first one to pick.
You are, believe it or not. You are the first one so far to pick that. And whatever Grandson song Grandson himself tells me to play right now is the other song it's going to play at the end of this podcast.
Would play a song called Heather by Grandson off my new album, I Love You, I'm Trying.
There you have it. Thanks for tuning in, people. I hope you have a rad day. I hope you have a rad day, Grandson. And thanks for joining me, man. I'll see you next week.
Really appreciate your time, and thanks for everything. See you soon.
And that brings to a close episode 8 of Instant Mood Improver, a happy music podcast with Grandson. If you enjoyed our conversation today, I'd highly appreciate it if you gave me a rating or went and followed me on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, or Facebook. If you're a fan of Grandson and you'd like to see this musical maverick bring his songs to life before a live audience, you can do so this week down under in Australia. All show details and tickets are available via destroyerlines.com. I'll leave you now with the sound of perhaps the most instant mood improving song ever written. Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. And of course, Grandson's choice of Grandson's song, Heather.